We asked ChatGPT to come up with a theme for a game that myself and Mr. Bluecat must complete within 1 week. But to make it more exciting, we told Dave to include 3 conditions that we must include into the game. Here's the breakdown. The theme is evolution, and the conditions are as follows. We have limited resources, adaptive challenges, and branching evolution paths. We have given ourselves exactly 1 week to complete this project, but both Mr. Bluecap and I work full-time jobs, so that will heavily impact the actual time that we can be working on this. So don't be surprised if at the end of the week, the games are... Let's get deving. As soon as I saw evolution as a theme, my mind was flooded with ideas. Of Pokemon, naturally. But a Pokemon-style RPG seemed a little out of scope, but I want something in that style. So I think I'll use the Pokemon evolution of the characters and enemies, as that'll also be something that players can pick up easily. I'm also going to do the pixel art in my game for 2 reasons. 1, I have a bit of experience doing pixel art, and 2, to me that's the only style that Pokemon is in and should have ever been in. Changed my mind. Now, the game I'm thinking of making will be a Vampire Survivors type with 4 core characters that all branch out with different effects, powers, and upgrades. All attacks and abilities in the game will be completely automatic, sort of in the style of Vampire Survivors where you're more designed to be dodging or moving strategically. During day 1, I'm mostly whipping up ideas for what the characters should be, what their evolution should be, and how all of that should interact. Doing this style of game should also check off the conditions. With the limited resources, this will be in the form of experience point drops from defeating enemies or finding gold scattered around the map. Spoiler, I never ended up implementing gold. With adaptive challenges, based on the character that you pick, the upgrades or evolutions that you choose, and the map that you choose, there will be different enemies, and the enemies get progressively harder as time goes on during gameplay. Another spoiler. Maps are purely aesthetic. And the branching evolution paths. Now, this might seem out of scope, but I'll see how I go. But with 4 characters, there will be 3 sets of upgrades, and with every upgrade is another set of 3 different upgrades, totaling 39 possibilities per characters, or 156 different evolutions, which, now that I've said out loud, seems totally stupid for a project that should be done in 1 week. Not even a spoiler, I know it was stupid then, and it's stupid now. It ain't in. Moving on, we're allowed to use assets that exist or obviously code we've used in the past, and with the idea that I have, I think it would be a cool chance to use my random walk map generator, which you can use in your own projects too with this epic tutorial that I made. And finally, enemies. Well, it'll be slimes, because apparently that's the go-to enemy for every game ever. I think it might be a good idea as well to try and roughly map out the plan for each day so that I can stay on track efficiently and not spend too long on one aspect of the game unnecessarily. So I wrote a little document on Google Docs and just mapped out how I imagine each day will go, which looks like this. With that out of the way, let's get into day 2. As soon as I clocked off work for the day, I immediately started up a new Unity project, and to try and avoid the mistakes of my past, I will opt in for a 2D project that already includes the universal render pipeline, and also import any assets that I foresee myself using, which I think will just be TextMesh Pro and the tweening package. I was straight into setting up the game architecture, so the game manager, the scriptable objects for players, levels, and enemies, as well as the scenes that I'll be using in the game. Now, since today I didn't have too much planned on my checklist for the actual core game loop, I wanted to knock out some of the menu setups. So from starting the game to actually getting into a level. The plan here is super simple. You start the game, you'll be brought to a character select screen, and then a level select screen, and then you'll be brought into the level itself. Like I said, today is more of the architecture setup, so I want to actually get the user interface working for the menu selections and have some nice little feedback while you're selecting, just for a little bit of early game juice. I also started work on some pixel art and Aseprite for the characters and levels, imported and resized them in Unity, and then got working on the random walker algorithm to generate the levels. And like I said, I made a tutorial on this earlier, so if you like this concept, I highly recommend checking that out too. I then set up a basic character controller, which realistically is not going to change for the rest of development, and the beginning of the actual game. I also designed a little enemy friend that I can use, reuse, and abuse with multiple variations in colors and sizes. And with that, we wrap up day 2. Back to it, and the plan for today was to get the enemy controller set up and the A-star algorithm, which fortunately came in very smooth. For those that don't know, A-star is a pathfinding algorithm which is commonly used in video games. So if you want an easy coded alternative to Unity's nav meshes, I'm currently working on a tutorial for this as well that can be used for all of your NPC needs. Anyway, I've created a basic enemy scriptable object that I can tweak the values of as necessary and create multiple instances of to quickly make enemies. And I've also set up the enemy spawning so enemies just spawn in infinitely. At the moment they spawn in every second or so, but I think tomorrow or the day after I'll try and get different states so that it handles hordes, bosses, and also limits the amount of enemies on screen at any given time. Other than that, I was going to try and work on the attacks and collision, but I started a little bit later than anticipated today, and I got sleepy. So that's a wrap on day 3. Today I got the collision detection working, so effectively I have a game set up and the game loop working. But unfortunately I couldn't work too long as I was caught up on a flight to Melbourne, and for some reason I actually forgot to set up version control in this project, which was a terrible mistake, meaning I had to spend time setting it up and getting it onto my laptop so that I can work from there, meaning day 4's tasks are now being pushed into day 5. But it also means that the next few days will mostly be voiceovers with not much actual footage and screen recordings to accompany it, so you gotta use your imagination. I finally got around to implementing the evolution logic, and I've started to replace the animation for the characters, landing more on elements as opposed to whatever this excuse for a character is. For day 6, I've been working on my laptop, and to get out of the house for a bit, I am working on the street, in public, as you can see here. Anyway, today I replaced all the animations, got the UI set up, reworked the collisions because the bullets were colliding with the players, which was getting annoying, and some quality of life things like the experience point balancing and the character setups. We made it. The final day before submission, and things are looking and feeling good. I've been testing the game and it's pretty addicting actually. I have all the upgrades implemented, and in a weird way the game sort of self-balances. Like when you upgrade one thing, you obviously become weak in other areas and start to try and farm to get them upgraded. Pretty cool. Now, Mr. Bluecap and I, due to our own time limitations, our existing full-time jobs, and the standard in which we present our games, have decided that we will have 3 extra days before the actual submission of the project. However, within these 3 days, we are only allowed to spend a maximum of 3 hours working on it. How we choose to split it will be entirely up to us, and for me that was spent working on a high score screen, which is just a timer and a kill count, because every game needs an aim. And like that, the timer came to an end and our submissions were going live. And I proudly present Elemental Survivors. Now, in hindsight, there was so much that I wanted to add to the game, like general polish, better UI, better animations, more weapons, which I actually added the functionality for but was never able to code in, some general balancing, and maybe making the evolutions a little bit more meaningful. Anyway, that all being said, I'm happy with what I was able to get out, especially given the constraint and the workload I had on top of it. In a few days, we'll find who'll be crowned victor of the first annual Game Dev Challenge, and let me tell you guys, I'm liking my odds. Here we are, the official playtest. We're going in blind on this. I'll be playing Mr. Bluecap's game, Coup de Slime, first. Coup de Slime is a turn-based roguelite, where your attacks are randomized based on an existing loadout, where you fight to overthrow the evil King Uzma and his posse of badass slimes. Now, I knew the second that I opened the game that I was done. This game is a beautiful combination of roguelite, strategy, aesthetic, and humor, and it reminded me a lot of The Legend of Bumbo. I would be lying if I said I didn't love this game. There were so many possibilities to it. The various difficulties and reward payoffs, the unique challenges and enemies, and the lovable party of unlikely heroes, Finn, Silas, Lily, and Glupta. This game honestly just felt so complete, from the visuals to the ideas to the characters to the battles and encounters. I'm convinced that Mr. Bluecap has been secretly developing this game for the last 3 years and is just telling me that he made it in a week. So I'll be notifying the Fair Work Masters of Ludology, also known as FML. Where my game looks like a game made in 12 hours, Mr. Bluecap somehow had the budget to be Steam-worthy. And like that, I humbly present the crown to him. With a game like his, man, he absolutely crushed it. But don't think your victory came easy, Bluecap, because I'm training now. I made the mistake of bringing a knife to a gunfight, but I see what this is. This is just the beginning, and I'm hungry. I'm hungry to take that crown. You want to play rough? We're playing rough now. If you guys want to play our games, the link for them will be in the description of this video. If you guys enjoyed this video, subscribe to my channel and be sure to subscribe to Mr. Bluecap as well to see his version of events. Maybe his video reveals exactly how he did this in a week. I'll be taking notes. And don't forget to like the video and leave a comment down below with more suggestions for videos like this. As always, thank you guys for watching and I hope you enjoyed. Hey everyone, just a final note. If you stuck around this far to the video and you do keep up to date with my channel, then you'll know I haven't made an upload in a little over a month. Now this was due to the passing of my dog Yoshi, which has been extremely tough, but I wanted to honor him on this channel and remember him always.